please continue to do so. All right. Today's Sunday service, I know we're less than 2 weeks from the door of 2022, and many of us, we set goals or have great intentions and make New Year's resolutions and so on and so forth for the year. And this is why we decided to really share with you what we believe the law of intent is, and why having right intention is so important in creating your reality. Many of us set goals, but how many of us reach those goals or make resolutions, and how many of us, are successful with these resolutions? That is why good intentions pave the road to hell. And the road to hell is paved with many a good intention or intent. So first, let us read to you what we found on the internet from the Ascension Glossary, the definition of the law of intent. It is essentially what we think. This law of intent is what we create through intent, consent, and structure. When we do not have intent, we have no consent, and the default is given to the energetic signature of the frequency match held in the thought, behavior, and/or action as aligned to the law of resonance or the law of sound, which will answer to the law of consent. Therefore, so this is how we can clarify all of this. What we hold as our intention in our personal thoughts is what we hold as our consent. And therefore, whatever we consent to is what we manifest, because like attracts like, and that's the vibration we bring into the world. The consequence, the energetic consequence of these thoughts that create thought forms of these, because everything starts and coagulates in mind, everything that we manifest, so, and creates thought form substance, impacts not only ourselves, but others and the world around us. So let us go into intention setting in the year 2022. First of all, how do we not only prepare for this, but how do we set right intent and be in harmony with the law of intent? We just received an email from Julie Renee, and many of you may know her. She's one of God's warriors who literally fights demons and so on and so forth, and is helping. She and her group, they're helping humanity and the light of the Christ have the majority, more than the majority, or 100% of the, not, I wouldn't say the control but of this energy that dominates our consciousness and all of creation. So this is what not only she says, but what we gather from what she said. First, allow your inner nature to flourish. Because when you allow your true self, your authentic self, who you really are, to flourish and to grow and to come into the light, not hidden underneath a bushel basket. This allows for greater expansion and what happens when we expand is that we start to be explorers in the universe, astronauts in the universe, or discoverers of who we are, and we start experiencing greater and greater and greater dimensions. And when we're trying to please everyone, or when we're trying to put up a front, people can detect that. Someone will detect that. And it will anger them because it pushes a button that, within them, because that's in everyone. We all want to please. We all want to be liked. We all want to be accepted. We don't because of the fear of being alone. The fear of being all one. But the opposite is true, is when we're all one, we're united. When we allow ourselves to experience who we are and to shine, to really to give out the vibration of our authentic self. And therefore this creates balance and more growth. Like that little seed we talked about in last night's activation, in last night's class. Another point about intention setting is to really watch your words. And this, people have been, everyone, not everyone, but many have been saying that there is power to our spoken word. Therefore, when we set intentions, we must be aware of the power of our spoken word, because everything is speeding up. As we said, 2021 went by like lightning. 2022 will go faster than light. And we've been reading about tachyon energy, which is faster than the speed of light. And tachyon energy will be, everyone will start talking about tachyon energy. And how it can be harnessed for healing and for balancing and for our growth. And the power of the spoken word is an energy that is faster than light, the speed of light. Though it may take a while for it to manifest here in the third dimensional reality. Therefore, Julie Renee says to use much more powerful words And she gave a list of what's, what we need to be using and what not to use, to avoid using. And we added to this list, and we deleted from this list, and we changed the list, of course. And so use this word or use this energy, use intent instead of I'm planning to do something, because we know what happens to plans. Intent comes from the heart. We can misuse the word and tell people my intention is, to do this for your own good. But as we know, everything we do touches us. We're actually saying it's for our own good. And everyone has their own path. So what we think someone is doing so-called wrong or not normal, that is the path they have chosen. And to experience it, to awaken from it. And it's not our job to say you are wrong and not to do it, and I won't let you do it. That's why parenting has changed so much in the past few years, since the 60s. There is more allowing and allowance and respect for a person's path. But there's still that old energy of you must do it my way or the highway. Use words like determine. I'm determined to accomplish this task, rather than words like longing or I'm hoping or though hoping can be positive to accomplish this. You either do it or you don't. Use words like resolve. I resolve that this is done. I resolve whatever your dream is manifested. Instead, I want and I desire. Use words like commit instead of ache and I long for something. Just commit yourself. Oh, there's so much. I long to be married. Just I commit. And it is done. Use words such as direct instead of lusting. See, these so-called negative words means you are in want. You don't have it. Use words such as engage instead of wish. Once you engage something, it is done. Once you engage someone in your life, they are there, physically, emotionally, or mentally, spiritually. Use the word experience instead of want. Use the word prefer or not prefer instead of hate and don't want. Therefore, setting intentions creates a space for things to manifest. And you can accomplish much, much more with intentions than setting goals. And using words of intent. So let's go back to the definition. What we hold as our intention in our thoughts is what we hold as our consent. That means when we set an intention, we allow, we consent to it. And remember, we must first allow something. I allow. I ask, I allow that I connect to the frequencies of what? Of great health, prosperity. Allow yourself that. That is in the law of intent. Now, Julie Renee said she attended a workshop, a very interesting workshop. She doesn't say who guided the workshop, but it was on intention. And she said instead of making goals, what they did was they had to write down what they have been able to contribute to the world. That was the first step in this workshop. And everyone got excited about it. And then it went even further. They were told to imagine a timeline, a much longer timeline of contribution. And first you start with 6 months, then you start with 12 months, 2 years or 24 months, 5 years, 10 years, and so on. What did you accomplish? And why we say, what did you accomplish, even if it's 10 years from now? It's important, the law of remembering. Even if it's 10 years from now, remember it as if it had already happened. In every detail, using your senses, what it smelled like, what it tasted like, what it felt like, the sounds that you heard, what you saw, the lights, the colors, and so on and so forth. 15 years from now, write down what you've contributed like it's already happened. That is something that we added in. Imagine a life beyond the mem of a normal life. Then they were told, what if you lived 150 years or more? Or you don't know, because there's incredible things being done in science, and there are people who are walking the earth who are so-called 300 years old or more. And it's because they have an intent. So imagine this life. What have you accomplished in 75, 100, 125, 150 years, and so on and so forth? We can go on and on and on. And as she says, contribution on a grand scale is possible with a longer life. So watch your words, those of you who have said, oh, I don't want to live that long and see all my friends die. And, you know, we've heard that one. It's very lonely. Because don't think of it as a self, just you, but many, your family, your friends also living much longer lives. You live a longer life if we walk in harmony with this law and intent, which is directed and when there is purpose and impact. You live a longer life beyond your contract if you have right intent. Therefore, it's important that our intention is pure, that it honors and respects who we are. And know whatever we intend for others, it's really what we intend for ourselves. We attract people. Who are you attracting into your life? People with troubles, people who are who have mental problems, people who are sick and ill, because like attracts alike. Some say, well, I'm a counselor. That's who I will attract. You're a counselor, yes. But do you agree with these people? Do you try and so-called fix their problems? Are you trying to fix you? You don't need to be fixed. It's the acceptance of who you are. Because if you see a negative energy, like within yourself, you are not that. It's up to you to be the witness, as in the scriptures say, to be objective and detached. Only then can you release and let go that which is not you, a negative entity. There had to be consent first, allowance first for this negative entity to walk in. And it's not because the person is bad or good or whatever. It's because of the thought, I'm not good enough. Who am I fooling? So self-acceptance, work with our inner child, loving who we are. Only then can we love. It just happens at the same time. Loving the world and all that's in it and beyond. Loving God. And the impact of I am that I am, Om Tat Sat Om, will be such a reality, such a realization. So profound.